welcome to CoderDojo Virtual Edition. My name is Lori. This is the first of our fall series. We're going to change things up a bit this fall. We're going to post one new video every 2 weeks. This will allow you to practice using the skills we've learned each week over a 2-week time frame so that when we post a new video, you're really ready to move on with your coding. The objective of our sessions this fall is to learn how to develop and code our own interactive website. We'll do this by learning a new coding language, HTML, as well as CSS. The library has a number of books to help you learn coding, and here's a couple of my favorites. Is a very simple step-by-step introduction to HTML. This book tries to make more of a game out of coding, computer coding. Don't forget, as well as all of these books, there are a lot of online resources to help in your coding journeys. Let's get started. Building a website using HTML. So HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. It is simply a document that contains text, just like Microsoft Word. HTML is really the building block for all computer web pages. Web pages read and display documents that contain HTML. I'll show you how every web page has HTML that was used to write it. Here we are at the Kingston Frontenac Public Library website. If you're on a PC, you can right-click on any website to see the HTML code that was used to write the website. On a Mac, you'll push Control-click where it says View Page Source. Click on that, and here is all of the HTML code that was used to write the Kingston Frontenac Library's website. HTML is all about tags, and angle brackets are used to identify the tags. Each element in HTML is a tag with an opening tag, opening angle bracket, and a closing tag. A closing tag has a backslash and the closing angle bracket. The web browser will interpret, print, or display everything that's in between an opening tag and a closing tag. Each of these tags are an instruction to your web browser. HTML can add text, images, or videos to your website. But if you want color, animations, and a variety of interesting aspects, we're going to have to learn CSS, which is Cascading Style Sheets, and that will come after we learn our basic HTML coding language. So let's get started with our website. If you're using a PC, you're going to open Notepad. You'll do this by going to the Start menu and typing it in the search bar. On a Mac or MacBook, you'll find Text Edit, which is the text editing software we'll be using. You'll find that by typing it into the Spotlight Search magnifying glass you find in the top right-hand corner of your screen. I will be doing my demonstration on a Mac. So if you're on a PC, go ahead and open Notepad by going to the Start menu and typing it in. So those of you that are using a Mac, as I am, we're going to have to do some changes in some of our settings. First off, let's go up to the magnifying glass and you're going to type in Text Edit. Once you have done that, you have Text Edit up here. So under Text Edit, go to the Preferences tab, click on New Document, and we want to check that plain text is checked here. Move down to the Options section, and here we want to make sure that Smart Quotes is not checked. Back up. Here we're going to click on the Open and Save tab, and in there we want to check Display HTML files as HTML code instead of formatted text. So on our Mac, we're all ready to go in Text Edit. On your PC, you will have gone to Notepad. In Text Edit, we're going to go to File and New. We'll begin by entering a declaration line. This declaration line will begin every HTML file we write. And this here is the line. Notice angle bracket and angle bracket, but it's not a closing tag, as we'll see most of our other lines will be. So in my Text Edit or your Notepad, let's enter our declaration. Angle bracket, exclamation mark, DOCTYPE, doc type, space, HTML, angle bracket, L, angle bracket. Almost everything in our HTML coding will start with an opening tag and end with a closing tag. Here's an example of that. So this is going to be our opening tag for the body of our website. Here's the content. Obviously, we're going to have lots and lots in here. And then here's our closing tag. Angle brackets, but it starts with the backslash. So that's our body closing tag. This element is called a markup element. And this is just an example of one of the elements we'll have. An element without a closing tag. Well, I just told you that all elements will have an opening tag and a closing tag. But here's the one, and there are others, but the one big exception to that rule. This is called a line break. It's an empty element. So it has no content. It just tells our browser to leave a space for the whole line. Therefore, we don't need a closing tag. So you'll see in a couple of minutes how this line break is used and why it doesn't need open and closing tags. Let's return to our HTML test file where we've already written our declaration line. The next thing we want to do is tell our browser what kind of file this is going to be. Browsers can read a variety of different files. HTML is one of them, but they can also read SVG files, XML files, and a lot of others. So, following our declaration line, we also always have to write that this is going to be an HTML file. We talked about opening and closing tags. And so there's our opening tag. We have to also include a closing tag. So the closing tag must have the backslash at the beginning of it. And this really is not any of our code. It's not part of our program. It's almost like a wrapper that we have to put around the beginning and end of all of the content we want on our page. So, opening HTML tag, closing HTML tag. That's all we're going to learn for today. And if you can practice opening up TextEdit or Notepad, getting started with your declaration line, and then your HTML tags, we'll pick up from there next session and get right in to developing our first website.